Hello and welcome to The Talking Voice. I'm your host, The Heavy Hero. Today we'll be discussing topics such as the movie Safe, the song Africa by Toto, and the game Sacred Citidel. And we'll also be adding a new segment using my big bracket board. Let's begin, shall we? First things first, I have to make a quick addendum to last week's podcast where I didn't talk about football. Not the soccer football, but the American kicking the oval-shaped, I think it's an oval shape, whatever, cone, the football-shaped football. And it's not my favorite. It's a little more exciting than others because, I know more about it, and the physical contact and hitting people and knocking helmets off, losing teeth, things like that can be a little more exciting. But, I live without it and I'm fine. Right, let's jump right in, shall we? So, Jason Statham, who is a big action star, who's done a lot of movies that I enjoy because I enjoy a good and bad action film. Bad action films just have a special spot in my heart. But Safe kind of falls right in between. Because you've got Jason Statham's character, who is ex-military, ex-police, ex-MMA fighter, drunk homeless dude, who ends up getting bought into this whole intrigue thing to do with this little Asian girl who has impeccable memory and can memorize things in an instant to be able to recite them. And she has been recruited at a very young age to the Chinese mafia. And so at one point she memorizes a code. And then she gets kidnapped by the Russian mafia, who then gets surrounded by police who are corrupt police who also want the girl for the information, all leading up to the mayor being corrupt about the police, and Jason Statham just going around and winning all over the place. No one could beat him. He destroyed everyone. Kind of sad that the final fight that was going to happen, which looked like it was going to be great, ended pretty abruptly without much action. It's kind of a big letdown. But, you live. You get a bunch of shootouts in the street, you can miss one fight in the street. So, even if it is the final boss fight, but then again, I just think in RPG and game standards, and there's always a boss fight. Not always. There's usually a boss fight at the end of things. Moving on. The song Africa by Toto is it's one of my favorite songs. It always brings me peace of mind. And I don't know why. I think it's just the soothing music. The lyrics, I'm sure, are dumb and repetitive and not that great. But I love this song. It's one of my favorites. I listen to it as often as I can. Sadly, I don't think I actually own it. I usually end up finding it on YouTube or something. But man, it is a great song. And I sing as loud as I possibly can along with it when no one else is around, because that's how I do. That's what I do and how I do. Great song. I would suggest it to anyone. Finally, let's move on to Sacred Citidel. I didn't have much time to do a big game today. I was working my way through a couple, but I didn't get any of them done. But Sacred Citadel was a game I bought a while back, and it's actually pretty good. It's a side-scrolling hack and slash with multiple characters, lots of weapons to find, better armor, potions, special moves, leveling up, new combos. Very good. I mean, the story, I don't know anything about the story. I've played it through maybe twice, and I still haven't paid one bit of attention to what the story is, which proves it was terribly important to the gameplay. I do like that, your weapons change when you pick up new ones. There's lots of elemental abilities added into the weapons, which is always nice. And you've got a well-balanced amount of different classes. You've got a fighter, ranger, mage, and a healer. All those characters are available to you, and they level up separately, so you don't just, get one guy really powerful, and they're all really powerful. So you get to know how to work with each character. They're all slightly different. generally they're about the same, moves go about the same, but they all have little bit of differences that keep them, different, dare I say, from everybody else. But I would say if you could spend about $7, $8 on it, you're getting a good deal. Anything more might be spending a bit too much unless you really like the hack and slash side scrollers. I do. So, finally, it's up to the big bracket board now. Now, I worked on this a lot of time yesterday, and I've decided the first thing we're going to do is we're going to have a fight between wild animals and action heroes. So the first things I drew, I put a whole bunch of names in there, and I drew them at random, paired with a wild animal. And I got John McClane from Die Hard, and sharks from The Water. And for this one, I'm looking for audience participation, which is going out on a limb, because if I don't get any of that, then I'll just have to make it up on my own, and then you'll all have to be angry when I choose the right one and you think it's wrong. So John McClane has his resourcefulness, his ability to take a bunch of punishment, and let's see here, his ability to use duct tape to strap things to him that normally shouldn't be. So, sharks, they've got their razor sharp teeth, they can smell blood, which is good because John McClane is almost always bleeding in any movie I've ever seen. In any of the Die Hard movies, he's pretty much immediately bleeding as soon as the first scene rolls out. So they could find him really easily because they'd just be able to get the scent of blood. And then they also have their quick movement. So I'm not going to reveal what my vote's going to be because I'll save that for when I change it next week. But please, feel free to leave comments on the YouTube page or on the newly made Facebook page and tell me what you think about the victor would be between John McClane and the shark. And then we'll discuss the next one next week. Get it? It works pretty simply. I think I'm pretty darn smart with all this. It's like even on dry erase and everything. I am cool. Right. Well, that's another episode of The Talking Voice. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I have. See you all next week. See you all. You'll see me next week.